Greetings, Kindred. I am Voivode Maquette, and welcome back to our World of Darkness and another episode of the Blood Sorcery playlist on Level by Level. Today we're going to be going over the Level 1 Blood Sorcery power of Corrosive Vitae. This is a very interesting power because it's not what people would typically consider Blood Sorcery. This is what people would consider Quietus. This is obviously a Banu Hakim gift where they can turn their blood into an acidic substance, which is used to melt down and degrade non-organic items. Now, if you stop and think about older thaumaturgy from earlier editions, there is something that this also reminds me of, which is Hands of Corruption thaumaturgy. This had the ability to warp natural materials just by using the power of your blood, and this does seem to fall into that category as well. But it also does remind me of earlier attacks that the Banu Hakim would use on Kindred during their assassination days. The book states, altering the properties of some of their own blood, the user can make it highly corrosive to dead substances, able to corrode most items down to steaming sludge, given enough time and bloodshed. So this is, you literally coat something in your blood or you bleed on it and it will become damaged over time. It'll actually start to dissolve. You've turned your blood into a corrosive acid. The cost is one or more rouse checks. This is going to have a lot to do with how big of an item or how sturdy of an item you are attempting to bleed through. The system states no additional skill roll is required. The user concentrates for a turn and forces blood through an open, usually self-inflicted wound. The user then spills their blood on a non-living object, except unliving flesh, such as that of a kindred, to corrode and decompose it. Each rouse check corrodes approximately 35 centimeters of matter in all directions from the splash. This takes approximately 5 minutes, longer on soft metals like copper or cast iron. Harder metals, such as alloys and steel, merely scar and pit. Whether they meaningfully weaken remains as the storyteller's discretion. This power might corrode through handcuff chains, given enough time and vitae. So, certain metals, stronger alloys, are going to take some cosmetic damage. Thin pieces may very well become pitted to the point where their structural integrity can be forced away through physical means, such as bleeding on a chain that's keeping a fence locked and then being able to use your physical might to kick through it. And the duration is non-applicable. This is just something that goes as long as you're willing to continue to work on it. So the more blood you have, the easier it is to work on this. Now, I've seen this discipline used quite a bit in LA by Night. Our dear Cynthia Marie, who played Nellie G, had this ability, and she used it all the time. And to great advancement of her coterie, might I add. This is a power that really is more of something that you need to consider how it's going to help your story. And this is for the storytellers out there just as much as it is for the players out there. Because this is one of those things where you could easily just go, oh, it's not going to work here. Oh, it's not going to work here. Over and over again, completely discouraging anybody who wants to play something like this because it is up to storyteller discretion. You do need to think of where it is going to be the most useful, how you want your characters to succeed, or how to pin them in a horrible situation. This is not something where the storyteller is trying to win against the player. That's not what kind of game this is anyway. So, I would like to know, as always, if any of you have used Corrosive Vitae. This game has been out, this edition of this game has been out for so long, I'm sure all of you have, at least in passing, have at least been in a game with it. I want to know your experiences. How has it helped you? How has it hindered you? how have you been able to use it to your advantage in the game? Now, an example that I have is the very first time I ever tried to really put effort into storytelling a V5 scenario, which was a small get-together with 3 individuals that I was running, where I had an individual who was tied up, and they did not know he had this power. Being tied up and left in a back room, he rubbed his wrists on the rope that he was being tied up with until his skin became raw and ripped through, and he used Corrosive Vitae to acidically burn through the rope. Following that, he then used the ritual of adhesion to be able to skitter up a wall and out an air vent. And it took them quite a while to figure out how exactly this guy had escaped from captivity. I am Voivode Maquette. This has been Corrosive Vitae on the Blood Sorcery playlist. And I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Class dismissed.